Hey you guys, it is me Laura, and it has been a while since I have updated you guys on our homeschool. We did start back in July. We've been homeschooling this month, and when I took a little break before that, anytime we take a break, I like to step back and evaluate our homeschool from kind of a not in the middle of it, like take a little bit of a bird's eye view, what's working for us, what's not working for us, what needs to change, what needs to stay the same. There were a lot of things that were really good in our homeschool, but I decided to let go of a few programs. I think I might have mentioned some in earlier videos, but I'm not sure. But today, for this video, I'm going to talk to you about the group subjects, the things that we do together. So Bible, history, geography, science. I think that's pretty much the bulk of them. So I know a lot of you are wondering, oh, is she not doing My Father's World anymore? And the answer to that is yes and no. So we are still doing My Father's World. I'm taking a little bit of a step back from it though. The reason being, I was having to adapt it and edit it so much. We had been doing the program for a while and we really loved it, but it was getting to a point where anytime we have a curriculum like that we do for a really long time, we start to feel like it gets in a rut and get a little bit burnt out and need something new. So I'm going back to what we did a long time ago that worked really well, which is looping those group subjects. So we will work on history for a while, and then we will work on geography for a while, and then we will work on science for a while, and then we will go back to history, and we will loop through them like that. We can spend anywhere from 2 to probably 12 weeks on a loop, just depending on how much we're enjoying it and how much we're into it. And so that's kind of what we're doing, and My Father's World is the geography loop for us right now, which means that we're not doing everything in there. We're definitely condensing it and cutting it down, but I was already doing that so much anyway, just to meet the needs of my kids and to really help it sink in and learn. But we're still definitely doing the book basket, so I'm totally going to be updating you on that. And I love the program. I love Window on the World. I love a lot of the resources they pulled together, so we're still going to be doing a lot of that, but we are changing it up a little bit. And what we are doing for our other loops is from master books. Actually, this is not the textbook, this is the teacher guide, but we're going to do America's Story 1, and we are doing God's Design for Life for science. And this series I was introduced to through My Father's World. They have the properties of ecosystem in exploring countries and cultures, and we really, really liked it. The lessons, let's see if I can show you one here. This is a little bit shorter than the average lesson, but not ridiculously. But this, and this for this lesson, that's all you read. You have your vocabulary here, you have your discussion questions. They have activities for younger kids and more challenging activities for older kids. There's optional worksheets that you can do in the teacher's guide, and I just like it because the lessons are short, so I can keep the interest of my kids without losing them, and they can really process what they're learning. There are tons of activities and experiments and things like that you can do, but you don't have to. If all you do is open this, read it, that's it. I mean, and you can do the questions and activities. It's pretty open and go, which I'm finding I really need that. I really need open and go. So that way, if we're having a rough week and I don't have time to plan or pull it all together, homeschool doesn't go completely out the window. We can still keep going. And I also love it because it gives room and time for my kids if they're wanting to know, like for example, we were learning about monocots and dicots and seeds. And after one of the lessons, my kids really wanted to immediately run and get some of the dried corn that we have and soak it and get it wet and plant it and grow it and see how, and he just came up with this whole experiment on his own, was checking it regularly. And because the lessons are short and they're small, we have space and time to do that. And this is happening a lot with their history too and other things. And I'm just finding that across the board, I'm really moving more towards a minimal homeschool program because I like having that room for them to explore and create. We've also tried unschooling before, and that just doesn't work because my kids do need structure. They need to know what's expected of them. They need to they just do so much better with some kind of structure, and I feel like this just strikes the balance super well for us. We don't do a lot of the worksheets. Sometimes we'll do them orally. We keep it pretty light, but that is working beautifully for us. So with this, we're halfway through plants already for this year. We'll finish the plants unit when we get back to our science cycle. Not as exciting for them, totally fine. My first grader is super excited about the human body, which will be next. He loves everything human body, so he's gonna eat that one up. And we'll just work through this until we're done, and then we'll get the next book in the series and just keep going through it that way. I did ask them which book they wanted. They wanted the life book, and if they don't want the heaven and earth, which is next time, then that's okay. We'll just pick whatever they're really interested in, but these have been really good. And also from Master Books, we're doing America Story 1. Yes, I have been through American history before. I, in some ways, wanted to go start with world history instead of American history, but the more I looked at it, I feel like the age of my kids and their interests, they're really both more interested in American history right now than world history. We'll start with this, and if we end up really liking it, we may just stick through it. There's 3 volumes of America Story, and then there's I think 3 or 4 world story, and we'll just go through it. And sorry, my kids are being really loud. They're with supervision, I promise, but they're very loud. But again, these have really engaging short chapters, short sections to read with loads of pictures, like photographs, which is really, really important to especially my oldest, but both of my kids, but they're very visual. And so we can read that. And what I'll do is, before we start a chapter, usually I'll do a few chapters at a time, I just write on a piece of notebook paper and stick it in at the front of the chapter with additional books that we have in our library or books that we can get from the library, with activity ideas and things like that, videos that I know that we can watch, whatever I know that we have that goes with it, and I stick it in there. If they're interested and want to do some of those things, we do. If not, if all we do is read that chapter, I know that that's enough for them. Sometimes I'll pull out some of the worksheets that I think they might enjoy. And really what is good though is that they have tons of freedom to explore and play on their own. A couple examples of that: when we were learning about Native Americans, they were really into looking at the photographs of the houses in the book, and so they checked those out and were really inspired by them. They pulled out some Native American books from the shelves and wanted to know, were really interested in the clothing and the weapons. And so my first grader made, with my help a little bit, he told me how he wanted me to help him, but he made himself a little loincloth and wanted to see what it was like to be a Native American that was in a loincloth. Like, what was it like? Why would they have this? And we talked about their clothes. And my third grader was really interested in the weaponry from the Native Americans, and so he went outside and tried to figure out if he could find a way to make himself a blowgun. And this kind of thing, they were really internalizing the things that we were learning. They were talking about the way of life and how hunting would have been, and they tried building some Native American shelters and things like that. And so they were really internalizing what we were learning, but this was completely on their own. And had I really loaded them down with a lot of extra work, they wouldn't have had the freedom or the space to do that. So I'm finding that these are really, really, really working well for us, and I'm super happy with it. So at least for this year, or at least for the next little while, this is probably, I don't know, I see us sticking with this because we can also really turn it into literature based by pulling in good stories. We can add more, you know, I just feel like it's completely flexible with whatever style of homeschooling that we need at that time. And like I said, it's easy too, if we're just going through a rough time, to open and go and have the very basics and get through that if we need to as well. So I feel like it's very flexible and adaptable to our life needs wherever they are. And I like that I can put the kids together for these subjects. And so that is pretty much what we are doing for our group subjects. And again, we're still doing My Father's World for the geography. That's our geography loop. I will be doing the books and, you know, the fun things and the things that we're really interested in. But otherwise, we're going to be making some other changes as well. And I will share with you in a couple other videos. I'll do a video of what I'm doing with my first grader and what I'm doing with my second grader. And in those videos and in these videos as well, if you would like to see more and more in-depth look of America's Story 1 or a more in-depth look of God's Design for Life, please let me know, and I'm happy to show you inside those. Of course, I will be continuing to show you what we're doing with My Father's World along the way, what we put in our book basket and all that jazz, just like I've been doing with that one. But just let me know. And I think for me, just the biggest thing that I'm learning with this is it's not about a curriculum being bad or good, but it's okay to change things because the needs of your family change, the needs of each child is different, the life stage changes, the season of life changes, and so it's totally okay to pick what is good for your family for right now and not be married to one program. Like, I think it was really hard for me because with My Father's World, I felt like, oh, this is great. I can do all the cycles and I can do this all the way through, and I was planning all of our homeschool ahead. And I think I'm just learning, no, I need to find what works for right now. And it's okay for me to think, oh, this will work forever. But then when it doesn't, like, that's okay. It's really okay. And I think that's just been really freeing for me. So that is what I have for you today. I'm going to go ahead and make these other videos, and hopefully I can get them up in pretty quick succession here. But like I said, let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you later. Bye.